Hi, and welcome to the first rendition of Martin Outdoor Property Group's Land and Blast podcast, the MOPG Land and Blast podcast.
Yeah, that's exciting.
It's a big deal. We've been trying to put this together for a little while now.
I have a new respect for podcast people because I always kind of joke that in my mind that was very simple technology to record.
It's becoming more and more complex by the minute.
I didn't, photography and short form video is a lot different than trying to record an hour's worth of media.
Yeah, so we're learning,
anyway,
and you're learning with us.
Yes.
But this is the first podcast that we're putting together.
Yeah,
and we were tasked with creating some video and audio content to kind of outline who we are and what we do. And for those of you who are watching who don't know, the Martin Outdoor Property Group, led by the man sitting to my left, Chris Martin.
And by the way, this is Sam Terrell sitting next to me.
And I'm Sam. Yeah, nice to meet you. Chris's team, the Martin Outdoor Property Group, has become the leading land and rural property sales team in Southern Oregon. And we've represented $130 million in sales, encompassing about 10,000 acres.
Yeah, since 2020.
Since 2020. So in the past couple of years, it's 2023 now, fresh into the new year. And that was all with a team of about 4 to 5 people.
Salespeople, about 4 salespeople, and then we have some staff.
And some staff as well.
I think probably on the rural property side, we're definitely the highest per capita, like sales per capita production group.
Yeah.
And I know we've definitely been part of the largest percentage of what I'll call exclusive sales. Mm-hmm. But we do a lot more than just those headliner sales. So, I feel like we're a pretty balanced group.
Yeah, I mean, there's more behind the sales, I think, is a great way to kind of lead us into what this is. I mean, we're doing this podcast, but in your mind, what does this podcast represent? Are there some pillars or some main areas of focus, holistically?
Real estate is what we do professionally, but there's so much more to Sam or to Chris or to the other people on this team. We have families, we have things that we're striving towards, passions, sports. It's I think like the core fiber behind wanting to create a podcast and the desire is to share.
Yeah,
to be able to share. You use the term pull the curtain back a little bit more into who we are, what we do, what we're passionate about, and share that with you. The people who we wish we could connect with more socially or doing fun things. Like I think that's probably one of my biggest regrets in my real estate career. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure it is my biggest regret, is not having more time to spend with the people that I've gotten to meet and know and respect over the years. Like, for anyone who's watching, who's a past client, friend, know that I wish I had more hours in the day to stop by and say hello or to call or to see how things are going. Because I mean, both of us are relationship-based people. Like, that's a big way. That's a core value for both of us.
Yeah.
And I think this is a way to help foster some of that and share more. But it's also to provide some value. Or we might spend a quarter of our time on this, the time we get to spend together talking about real estate.
Yeah.
We're going to spend a lot of time talking about faith, about family, and about the outdoors. So, I mean, those are really the 4 pillars of our lives, the areas we spend the most time: faith, family, real estate, and the outdoors, kind of in that priority order. Well, let's face it. This isn't really a real estate podcast.
No, this is something far
Land
outside.
And Blast. Land is not. I mean, yes, there's a real estate element to it, but it's more of a passion project, for lack of a better term. I think this might be more akin to an outdoor podcast or a hunting podcast.
There may or may not be a bag dump later on. You never know. Yeah.
I mean, if we're talking about guns and gear and hiking and adventures and all that sort of stuff, I could talk for a lot longer about that than I can real estate. To be totally candid.
No, of course. I mean, and that's where the idea of this format came from. We're working with a marketing team, and they tasked us with capturing footage of us talking about and engaging with things that we are passionate about and things we really and truly enjoy doing. And so yesterday, in weather very much like this rainy day we're having now, we went out and we did a little bit of competitive shooting practice.
Yeah.
And do you want to take us through kind of what
first, we're gonna cut to some video that we recorded, so you guys can get a little bit of a taste for the muddy mess we were playing in yesterday.
It was a slip and slide, to say the least.
One of the things I think, for both of us, candidly, we're gun people,
big time,
but we're not the gun people who shoot just to shoot.
No, we're not beer can blasters. No.
Yeah, we're not beer can blasters. We like competition.
Yeah.
We like personal growth. We like honing something, and also the camaraderie that comes with it. But so over the years, both of us have shot several.
You were the first one to ever invite me to a shooting competition ever. I shot a little bit in high school and stuff, but I'd never shot pistols or anything like that.
Yeah, so I've shot competitive archery. I've done different things along the way. I've shot some competitive pistol. I've informally done some longer range shooting. I've informally done, various different types of. Well, I've done a lot of actual, trainings as well for different things we've done, but everything has been with intentionality and purpose, and that's what we're doing. That you're seeing here on this video is we're just spending a little bit of time running through a few courses to hone skills that help us in USPSA or a similar discipline of action pistol shooting.
Yeah,
and it's something that, honestly, since I introduced it to Sam, it's caught on because he's now is flown by me.
I've been taking it and running with it.
I'm loosely keeping up, but you've got me for the time being.
And I appreciate you bringing me into it. And, and it's fun because, it's one of those sports where under the umbrella of pistol shooting or action shooting, like you're seeing in these videos, there's a time component. You're going for accuracy, but you're also going for speed and balancing those two aspects. And at the end of the day, you are competing against other people, but you're also competing against yourself. And in the mind is often where the hardest battles are fought. So it's a great mechanism to just kind of increase your mental awareness of where you're at, how you're engaging with your environment while doing something fun and training some practical skills.
Well, and if you're also an everyday carry person, like many of us are,
especially in the rural space.
Especially in the rural space, if you're carrying every day, this is a way to be an ethical everyday carry person, not the guy who, if heaven forbid something actually happened, is a liability, not an asset in a situation, or different things, church security, other things you might find yourself in. Just
mountain
protecting.
Lions.
Yes, we've got a story on that later.
There'll be another podcast on mountain lions.
But as you're seeing this, I think what we wanted to share is the intentionality in which we have a tendency. I think we approach life with intentionality. We try to.
Yeah, do our best. We do.
Yeah, we're growing in that area.
Yeah,
but that's some of what we want to bring to this conversation and share. But today we have another mission.
And the mission today is
to check the camera.
Yeah, this first mission, check the camera. All right, we're back.
So, though we could talk about shooting and other stuff
for hours,
a few more hours.
Yeah, infinitely.
Probably need to introduce a little background as to how we got here, why we should even be here.
Exactly, and why you should listen to us and
loosely.
Well, or maybe you don't want to, but maybe you do.
Maybe it'll just be entertaining.
Hopefully, we're making you smile a little bit, but. No, to get us rolling, I'd love to ask you some questions to, like we said, kind of pull the curtain back on who you are as a person and introduce, who Chris Martin is. So who is Chris Martin personally outside of the Martin Outdoor Property Group?
I think the pillars we've already mentioned here for the podcast really come from, I believe, kind of the core fiber of a lot of us, but especially me. I've tried to build my life on that faith, family, business order, and then followed by passions in the outdoors. So for me, I'm 33. I've been realistic. We'll talk about how it's actually been a bit, even though I'm 33. I'm married. Absolutely adore my wife. we have 2 young kids, and I couldn't be more blessed by the family dynamic, by that relationship. Been fortunate to be part of a very close knit cowboy church that's been like a second family to me for since I was probably 16. It was really, that's another podcast conversation about the transition from 16 to 17 years old. There was a major 180 in my life. So yeah, it's faith, it's family, it's obviously real estate. Then it's the outdoors.
Yeah.
Like I live in, obviously in rural Southern Oregon. I've grown up in this area, and, on weekends, if I got nothing else to do, no projects still looming, which it feels like rarely anymore, but I make time to get outdoors, to hike, to spend time in the woods, to hunt in the fall, to fish with Wes when I can, to do the different things, to bring my son, my daughter out into the outdoors, to get them away from technology and the different things. We're trying to live a little more of a disconnected life, for lack of a better
unplug
term.
a little bit.
Yeah.
It's probably why we're having so many technical difficulties today.
It could be. It could be. It's, but I'd say that's me kind of in a nutshell. That's my family. And, obviously in the real estate side, we're going to talk about that. But personally, I kind of want to just reiterate I guess in many ways, this is a new adventure for me in peeling back that curtain, because it's not something that I do naturally. I have a tendency to want to protect and shield, my family and my life outside of work. Like, work is its entity, and then everything else is over here. But I'm realizing, I guess, as I'm maturing, heaven forbid,
hopefully we all are. Yeah,
that people care, and I care about others, and peeling that curtain back and sharing more, I think is a new chapter for me.
Yeah. I mean,
no,
that's huge. I mean, and to, now that you have shared that, as we talked about, one of the main pillars of this show is real estate, and is showcasing, what we do in real estate. And so I'd love to know, how did you get your start in this business?
By accident.
By accident.
I say that. I mean, it wasn't totally by accident, but in many ways, that's an appropriate description. So in 2008, I got my real estate license.
Yeah.
I was 18, almost 19, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
And I was going to college. I was a couple years in. And for those of you who do really quick math, yes, I started a little bit early. That's for the conversation about the 180 at 16. Dropped out, started college. Yeah, anyway. I got my license because my mom was in the business. It was something that was somewhat familiar to me, but I swore I'd never do real estate because I saw some of the challenges that she faced. And I only saw the negative sides of things because it was time away from me, things that got pulled out, stresses, things. I saw all the negative. But I got the license because I thought I was going to do some form of construction after college, probably owning my own company at some point. And it made sense to do my own deals. Like, I thought, well, I can save some money, get familiar with the industry. It would be helpful. And I was just another class. I was going to college anyway.
Yeah.
It was
just
easy.
Throw it on the docket.
It was easy.
Yeah.
And so fast forward 2 years later, done a couple of real estate transactions, summers, weekend stuff with the company and with my mom, basically. And, well, let's face it, she did the transactions. I'm not sure what I did to help.
You were there.
I was there. But fast forward 2 years, graduated college, was doing construction, 50% probably project management, 50% carpentry. And 6 months after college, I re-aggravated a back injury that I had from football, and it made me stop. And I started thinking about what else I could do other than construction, because it kind of rocked my whole plan. And I'm like, oh man, this might not be a great thing. And I think it was a conviction too, from God, just saying, like, are you sure you want to be doing this? Like, I'm glad I hurt myself.
Yeah. Don't continue wrecking yourself.
Yeah, because I don't do things halfway, and I would have wrecked myself. Yeah. The irony of it is I still didn't want to do real estate.
Wow.
But I had the license.
Yeah.
So I looked into a couple different things, different career paths, and they all led to a bigger city, all led to some corporate environment that I wasn't very excited about. So I said, okay, I'll give real estate a try. Lets me stay where I want to live, more or less have freedom. There were some benefits to it. So I'm like, okay, I'll give it a try. And so I decided to switch to Keller Williams, which at the time was recruiting fairly heavy and had really good training programs. And as it happens, the lady who was the CEO at the time was also just stepping down to start her own team again. Well, not start it again, but to regrow it from kind of a baseline to something big. And Nancy Venuti, for some reason, decided to hire me. It was...
How old were you?
22.
22.
I think. Somewhere around
Somewhere in that.
Not sure what she was thinking, because I wasn't qualified. But I got to learn, and I got to learn a ton. And I did. I mean, it took application. Like I think I was a sponge for a while. Like, I had to be. Yeah. I wasn't going to make any money. But the experience was phenomenal. But somewhere around year 4, and granted, I was doing well. I mean, among my peers, I was doing better than any of my recently graduated, buddies, friends.
Yeah. It seems like you're probably outworking them.
Well, I was definitely not seeing them as much as they were seeing each other, because I was definitely working a lot.
Yeah.
Now, back then, I used to work till midnight, 1 a.m, if you'd believe that.
No, not anymore. Yeah. It was a 4 a.m.
But I hit a wall, and I didn't know I hit a wall, but I lost the passion for what I was doing. And, looking back at it, I can see it clearly now. It had to do with there wasn't a lot of new things, new innovation, new challenges, things. It was a lot of the same thing over and over, which was, it worked great for Nancy. It works great for, hundreds and thousands of other residential, real estate brokers, because it's a great living. It's great relationships. It's a good business if you do it well, like Nancy did it. It wasn't the right fit for me. And about the same time, I got a random recruiting call from Garrett Zoller.
So before we get to this is the kind of one of the more interesting parts, because you started in residential and you made this huge switch to rural and with land leader.
Yeah.
And
by huge, you mean I didn't know what I was doing.
That was kind of what I was alluding to. Yeah. So here's that story.
So for the first 6 months or so after that took me 6 months or so to make the decision to do it, because it was a big thing to walk away from.
Yeah.
So I started in 2015, I guess it was, middle of 2015. And, I was single, didn't always have my priorities 100% straight. And I decided to go on a 30-day hunting trip 30 days after I went to work for the new company.
Living the dream.
I figured I neneeded to go live the lifestyle. That was our motto, right?
Yeah, live the lifestyle we sell.
Yeah, that wasn't helping me get paid. Right. But I had fun. We had a good season. And then I starved for the rest of the year, because I had nothing.
Top ramen and diesel.
It was a lot of top ramen and diesel. Anyway, but the diesel did get me some appointments and did get me some opportunities. And by the end of 2016, not only had I had a good year, I had my best year, and I had doubled my previous best year in that period of time. And
so you go from not knowing what you're doing, you move from residential to land, you go on the 30-day hunting trip, and then as you're progressing through that, you end up doubling what you were doing before.
Pretty much.
Wow.
Not a big deal.
Yeah. Not a big deal. No,
well, I didn't realize how big a deal it was at the time. I just thought this is what you...
It's a huge deal. Yeah. It's a magnificent, huge deal.
No, it was... From there, I realized the difference was passion.
Yeah.
And it was because I got excited about the properties I was working on, the opportunities to market them, to innovate, to learn, to grow. But then I also realized that everybody I talked to was a friend for the most part. There was some of the cannabis stuff that was a little bit challenging, but other than that,
understandable. Yeah.
Most of the property sellers, most of the owners, it was just great relationships, and I realized there was just a commonality in lifestyle and passions, in interests. It was all walks of life, from people coming from the city who never in their wildest imaginations taking care of cows or horses or anything,
Yeah.
but they wanted to.
Sure.
To people who were fourth, fifth generation, farm ranch, people who knew more about dirt than I could ever even begin to fathom even existed.
Yeah.
And it was fun. It was fun. That was the key. It was passion. It was fun.
Yeah.
And, fast forward a couple of years.
Yeah.
Well, one piece on the Garrett Zoller recruiting conversation that,
and for those that don't know, who is Garrett Zoller?
So Garrett Zoller is one of the founders of Landleader, and he's also founders and owners of Landleader, so the national company that we're a part of, as well as he's the local regional manager he's basically our managing broker.
Yeah.
But what I didn't know in the background was that Wes Walton had actually put him up to calling me and cold calling me, and I didn't know that part till a while later.
Yeah.
And Wes, fast forward a couple of years, ends up being my business partner. And we start the team that is now Martin Outdoor Property Group together in late 2017, I think it was. And it was a perfect dynamic. Wes and I. Wes is an incredible salesperson. We both had a ton of energy. I had a lot of passion and marketing background, and it was a great partnership that allowed this team to start off on the right foot.
Yeah.
I mean, we had different databases of people that we knew. We had different skill sets, and it all worked really well together. So fast forward again from the beginning of the end of 2017 to say 2019. When did you join us?
So I came on in 2019, and that was kind of my next question for you is, you and Wes had this partnership.
Yeah.
It was just you guys operating. And then I guess, when I started coming on 2019, was that when you started expanding the team? And building
a couple
the team?
Different things happened for me as we started to hit a different level of success, and I'll call it repeatability of the business model.
Yeah.
I desired growth. I always desired growth. I'm just wired to, I guess, grow.
Yeah.
And so how could I do that? Well, I needed to add more people. I needed to add systems and things. But there have been a lot of people in my life who had given back to me as well and given their time and their knowledge and their skills to me. And I wanted to be able to do that for other people as well. So I had still have, and this is still being executed, a vision of creating a robust team that executes the sales process, while at the same time bringing alongside other individual salespeople and helping them with the tools to then replicate what we're doing here, or maybe even do better than what we're doing here. So it was a two-pronged kind of growth of both wanting to, and don't get me wrong, there's definitely a benefit to growing like groups like what you're working on.
Yeah.
There's a brand awareness element, there's a camaraderie element, there's a lot of things that help the team.
Yeah.
But at the core of it is a desire and a passion to see other people do really well.
Yeah.
And
it seems like mentorship is a huge component for you.
It's definitely a core value because people mentored me and gave when they didn't need to me. And it was such a huge benefit in my life. Like I can't imagine not trying to do the same for others. I wish I had more time to do that.
Still waiting on the 25th hour.
Yes.
Yeah.
And a few more.
And a few more. Yeah. Maybe 27, 28.
Well, the 25th, I'll probably sleep.
Yeah. Take a nap.
It's a couple more.
You deserve it. You deserve it.
But
yeah.
Where were we going?
Well, yeah, no. And so that was kind of the beginnings of beginning to grow your team. And now, where does the Martin Outdoor Property Group stand today?
Oh, so the end of 2020, Wes. So part of the reason Wes and I began to work together was he had an exit strategy.
Yeah.
Part of it was to find a way to gracefully, but also in a financially beneficial way, step back from real estate, because he was on his second career. He did a successful tech sales career before that, did really well, and then candidly did well in real estate, but there's exit strategy from real estate can be challenging. And the team gave him that. So he can still get, some financial benefits and step in from time to time, work with someone who he really wants to. It was a graceful retirement step.
Sounds fantastic.
And benefited me a lot too. So the end of 2020, that came into swing.
Mhm.
And at that point, I had brought, Ashley, who's now a key part of the team down here. And then shortly afterwards, Alex came on board. And fast forward to present day, Alex and Ashley are my two partners in the Medford office on the listing side, but also I would call them senior partners
Mhm.
in the team. And then we have a buyer's broker, Shannon, and then we have a staff. We have Danny as our media guy, and then we have Jordan and Victoria, who are our coordinators, and that's about the right balance for us staff wise right
Mhm.
now. So really, I guess it's a group of 7 in the Medford office,
Yeah.
and then scattered across the state, we have yourself,
Yep.
we have Evan Caseberg, and we have Caleb Howard,
Yeah.
all building what I'll call satellite businesses, and everybody's at a different season within that business. Like Evan's right there on the edge of going to that next level and basically being a peer to Martin Outdoor Property Group. Caleb's building a little bit of a different business model. You are a year or so behind Evan in that evolution and process, and candidly, Evan's 5th generation, 4th generation.
Yeah, he comes to the table with a whole different skill set.
Yeah, everybody knows
who he is.
He is. So he kind of had the road paved, but he's also a brilliant young man who just works hard,
crushing it. Yeah.
So in the Bend market, well, I'm excited about the Bend market. We'll talk about
Me too.
that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that more.
It's a tough one to crack, but when it gets cracked, it's a gold mine.
Yeah.
But so today, as Sam said, I appreciate the lead in. I don't like to brag about what we've done, but I think proof is in success, and success in our business is quantified by numbers.
Yeah.
And we're not the top producing real estate group in the area. There's a lot of residential firms that kill it and do different things, but we are, in my mind, without a doubt, the leading rural sales group. And I feel like we've only scratched the surface of what we can do, both in this area, but really across the whole Pacific Northwest.
That's huge.
So anyway.
Shall we check a camera?
Yes.
Yes.